Yeah, welcome back to the Sooner Surge, as we are privileged to have a guy who knows a whole lot about football, Ryan Leaf, joining us today. Going to be calling the game with ESPN, commentating on the game. We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, Ryan.
Hey, my pleasure. Just about to hop on a flight here down to Oklahoma. Getting excited to see them go into action against SMU. Got the chance to talk to Coach Levy and Coach Roof and Coach Venables today, so that was fun. Got to learn a little bit more about the team, and yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I know you covered a couple games last year as well. Is there a difference that you can see? I know Arkansas State is not competition. SMU is going to be what everyone thinks a pretty good matchup for OU. Just judging based on last year and this year, there's some things that stand out at all.
Yeah, just the physical nature of the team in the front seven, and on the offensive line, they got themselves some dogs now running around, and I think there's a standard that wasn't met a year ago, and they know it. The coaches know it. The players know it. They went out and found the guys that were going to fit the culture. And coaches talk about culture now in a different light. When you have the transfer portal, you have to find the right fit. You can't just hope that a guy comes in and can deal with the things that have made him move around before. There's got to be the right type of person that comes to Oklahoma to fit that standard. And Coach Venables and the rest of the coaching staff feel like they've got the right fit, and you could really see it in that game. The physical nature, the fact that they shut them out, that was a big piece of it. And then they were functioning on all three levels, right? Defense, offense, special teams. When Gavin took that to the house on the second time they received the ball, I mean, that's a huge deal.
Yeah. What about the quarterback matchup? I mean, Preston Stone, highly recruited guy for SMU. I know he's played 2 or 3 games, so not a whole lot of film there. But then Dylan Gabriel. Obviously, Gabriel looked great last week, but just maybe that matchup there.
Well, they don't have to play each other, so Dylan's just locked in. I was here in April speaking to the team, working with them for a few years, and there's just it's just a way he carries himself now, even different from last year. Coach Levy talked about how that kind of shifted and changed in January, and he's been dialed in since. And you can see that he walks around as the leader in that locker room, and he's been doing this for a while. Nobody throws for 10,000 yards, in college football without having been around and having a ton of experience, and so that's a big deal. On the other side of that, Preston is just. He doesn't have the experience. He's very capable. They can be explosive. I'm the analyst in this game, and I don't know if you'll actually hear my voice much because these two teams go on offense. I mean, they go and go and go. My play-by-play is going to have to be, going through each and every thing quickly, and I don't know how much I'm going to be able to say, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know there's people that have criticized a little bit some of that, even when Lincoln Riley was at Oklahoma, Jeff Levy last year, the speed of play. You talked about the pace of play, and sometimes there's the critical side of that the defense isn't getting rest. What's your viewpoint on all of that as far as, with the pace of play, does it need to be, adjusted during the game, or do you just go? I mean, has been a player, been around, football a lot. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, you want to be have the most of the advantage offensively as you can. And if that gives you an advantage in your eyes, then by all means. I mean, I don't know if there's a better coach than Brent Venables, who's a defensive-minded man, and coach to voice his opinion on this. If he didn't want to, he thought he was putting his defense at a detriment. He wouldn't allow Coach Levy to run it that way. He feels like they gain an advantage. He feels like they make the defense have to line up appropriately and really kind of, show what they're doing early. And I also think this game's going to be really make it a lot, wouldn't say easier, but more knowledgeable, having Oklahoma's defense have to go against this offense every single day in practice. It's not going to be like something new. They're not going to be shocked by it when all of a sudden they're going as fast as their offense does during practice.
Yeah, I mean, looking at OU, they lost a lot of production on offense with Mims, Braden Willis, and then running back Gray, obviously. It's kind of a little bit more by committee, I think, this year. They got guys that are a lot deeper. So is there anybody to you that just kind of may be the go-to guy by the season's end? Anybody you're looking at, or you think it's just going to be kind of more spread out?
I mean, I think they're trying to find that. I will say this. I will say the fact that two local kids who kind of bootstrapped it up, and Drake and Gavin, I think that sets a very good tone. Two guys that have been rewarded for doing the rewarding work. And that's, that's rare in college football these days. It's the 5-star guys that come in, the 4-star guys, and they lead the way, but or they don't lead the way, and people wonder what went on. Well, you got standard centers here. You got Drake Stoops, and you got Gavin Freeman, both from the local Norman and Oklahoma City areas that just and to do it in the fashion in which they did last week, to both catch touchdowns and then for Gavin to go off on a punt return. I mean, that's the leadership thing. And then when you see the younger guys, because there's a lot of young talent on this football team, and you should be excited for what the future holds. But for right now, I think there's a lot of really good football to be had everywhere you look on the roster, and I think they're going to try to utilize all of that.
Yeah, Ryan, you mentioned a few minutes ago that you spoke to the team in April. Just talk to us about that April visit and what all that entailed, because a lot of our viewers maybe don't know that. So,
well, I've been doing this for about 7 years now. I pick 5 programs every year. Usually the first 5 programs that reach out to me to come in and spend 2 or 3 days with the guys and the coaching staff, and just pretty much relate my story, because I'm where all these guys are at are exactly where I was at 25 years ago. In fact, I was probably in a better situation. I was about to be the second pick in the NFL draft. So I am that dream to all of them who assume they're going to play professional football. So I think coaches find my story incredibly relatable, because you can be both things. You can be the star, you can be the 21-year-old NFL star making millions of dollars, and then, as we saw where my life would take me, years later, to the very bottom where I ended up in a prison cell. And I think that makes me very relatable, and it's a purposeful thing for me to be able to do and give back. It really does. They have a hand in saving my life when I do something like that. And Coach Venables heard me at Clemson when Coach Sweeney had me come in after their national championship year back in 2019. And when he got the head job, he reached out immediately and said, "Hey, let's get together next spring. I'm going to bring in some of the Oklahoma voices in year one, during the fall, Dusty Dvorak, guys like that who could speak Venables and what the standard is." And then, and I also find it incredibly rewarding that he allows, he doesn't allow many outside voices in. Like it's their ship, it's their voices. And so it's pretty honorable to be asked to come in and be one of those voices that he respects it enough. He thinks it will do and have care for his players. And it's incredibly meaningful to me. So yeah, this year, Oklahoma, Montana State, Duke, Texas A&M, and Missouri were the 5 I went with this year. They were the first 5 to reach out. Nick Saban was the first coach to do it 7 years ago, and I don't know if you could have a better referral than Nick Saban, because as soon as people ask who did Nick Saban bring in this year, and they say Ryan Leaf, then most programs are probably going to do the same. I take a lot of pride in it. Last year I went and spoke to Florida State and Kansas, and they had a heck of a year.
There you go.
I went and spoke to Duke this year.
I was going to say, yeah.
All right. So, start putting that on the resume. Hey, you're going to have a great year after I come in and talk to you guys. So hopefully that's the case here at Oklahoma as well.
Yeah, you kind of called the no, I don't know about upset but you predicted. I saw your prediction before the year about Clemson not winning the ACC, and already have a loss in the conference. So right on that. Yeah. But what do you think about realignment, Ryan? I mean, as a Pac-12 guy, what do you think about all this?
It's incredibly unfortunate. I think this was spurned on by Oklahoma and Texas, unfortunately, gravitating to the inevitable. This is where we're going. We're going to a National Collegiate Football League where there'll be probably 18 to 22 teams, 2 conferences, not in the NCAA, run by a czar with their own huge media rights deal. And there's going to be the teams that can't cut it, which I mean can't afford to be a part of it, that will be relegated. And unfortunately, my alma mater is one of them. And right now they're sitting really on the outside. it does damage to these kids. I really do think it does. I don't think anybody's thinking about the student athlete here. What they're thinking about is the amount of money that can be made by it. There's no way that that USC or UCLA should be traveling to play Rutgers on a weekend game, you know, and you have to get back and go back to school. It's just, if you are going to do it, and if you are going to own up to the fact that this is football and football only, then make every football team in America independent. Just make every one of them independent. Allow for the other sports to stay within their conferences so they can play regional games and they have a better chance at, competing and having their mental health stay intact. And that's just, the NCAA, and really they haven't had much say in it, and they certainly haven't tried to navigate it or regulate it at all. It's been really been maneuvered by the networks and some of these big time conferences and commissioners, unfortunately. And so I'd love nothing more than to see Oregon State or Washington State win the conference this year. And just be like, what are you boys thinking, you know? And so we'll see how it goes. All I know is that when I step on campus tomorrow, or when I did last week at Duke for the Clemson game, when I step up in that booth or I'm down on the field talking with the kids, the coaches, all that realignment stuff goes away. All the NIL and portal stuff goes away, and it's exactly what it's supposed to be. And there's still an innocence to college football on Saturdays, on campus, fans in the stands. I don't think that's going to go away, and that's a good thing. Unfortunately, we might not get to experience some of the cool rivalries and the legacy and the history of college football because of, the money and the way it's going. And that, I get it. I mean, I'm not like saying I'm not old school where I go, this isn't right. This is just the way of the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get off here, Ryan, just one final question here for you. Just as you said, you step up in the booth, and this is college football at its finest. What are you most excited for in tomorrow's matchup with OU SMU? Two teams that are very close in location. SMU seems to be on the rise. They've got strong offense, got a secondary that may test Gabriel. But what are you looking for, most excited about for tomorrow's game?
Well, from Oklahoma, I want to see what I saw in week 1. Last time I was here was for the Baylor game. And I walked away from that game thinking they got out physical. And that is a rare thing at Oklahoma, especially with the Brent Venables coach team. I just thought, in the trenches, where the big fellas roam, they got out physical against Baylor. And it showed. I mean, they got beat. And that's just how it goes. So I'm going to look at that. I want to see that. I saw it last week. I want to see it against a team that has some similar talent in terms of recruited players. The defensive front for SMU is incredibly strong, and it's deep. They're going to rotate a lot, so I think they can stay fresh. And I want to see Oklahoma, put the pedal down if they get something going. And I'm hoping for a good game. I expect a good game. Both are great coaches. Both have great staffs. I think they have good players. The depth for SMU is the only worry. That's the only worry I have in terms of what Oklahoma's been able to do to provide more depth for them. But I expect a very highly competitive football game. I'm excited to call it.
Awesome. Yeah, Ryan, we appreciate, like I said, you taking the time and really just all that you told about. We appreciate all the impact that you're making. It sounds like just commend you for all that, man. And we look forward to you on the call tomorrow. And again, thanks for taking time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan.
You bet. Always a pleasure to come down to Norman. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you.